name will stand up next to any of them.
He's the best midfield player I ever played with.
Graceful, metronomic and inspirational, Luka Modric is a genuine Champions League legend. The Croat burst onto the European scene for Tottenham in the 2010-11 season and was instrumental in Spurs' run to the quarter-finals, where they were comfortably beaten by Real Madrid.
The first time I played against him was for England, against Croatia, and I was like, this kid has got some. When he was actually playing central, and then when he signed for Spurs, you know, again, probably diminutive midfielder, he started playing out on the left or the right, and they didn't trust him in the middle of the park, and he wasn't as effective. And Harry Redknapp put him into the centre of the park when they had injury problems, and then it was like everyone just went, now we see it.
I don't think I ever saw him give the ball away. In training, I'm talking about, let alone games. It's small-sided games, he just had this beautiful sort of way about him where he'd get out of these tight situations and it was effortless. Absolutely beautiful to watch, and there was no question in my mind that he was going to go on to huge things and achieve what he's achieved.
That year when I think he wanted to go to Chelsea, from memory, he still had that mentality to just kind of get his head down. The move was gone, and arguably had one of his best seasons in a Tottenham shirt, which eventually got his move to Real Madrid. And what he's gone on to achieve, it don't surprise me one bit.
He did enough to convince Madrid he was worth prizing away that summer, and immediately looked at home in Spain. The balletic Modric was establishing himself as one of the continent's preeminent midfielders. His influence was clear to see as he helped Real to the Champions League final in 2014. Modric set up Sergio Ramos' dramatic 93rd minute equaliser as Real sent their showdown with rivals Atletico Madrid into extra time. In a memorable final in Lisbon, Los Blancos roared to a 4-1 victory. And just like that, Modric was a European champion.
Dream playing next to Luka. Luka was one of the first players that made me see how a centre midfield role can be played very differently. We were taught in England almost like in straight lines. It's like you receive the ball here, you go box to box, you go box to box. And then I used to watch Luka play, and he'd go into like a right back position, he'd go in like into a deep left back position, and then go on these little mazy dribbles and 1-2s and make things happen. And it was like, oh, that's different, that's new. And obviously playing against him in training every day, it was like trying to figure him out. It was like trying to figure out a puzzle or a crossword.
A tense affair went down to the wire, and this time penalties were needed to decide the trophy's fate. Modric could celebrate again as Real won the shootout to seal a historic 11th European crown that ushered in a new era of dominance.
Luka he would run a game from midfield. It wasn't cutting incisive passes all the time, but he just dictated the flow. He sped it up when he wanted. He didn't score lots of goals, but he controlled games and made the whole team better.
He's got every attribute. He can score goals, he certainly creates, he keeps the ball as well as anyone in world football.
Real were an unstoppable force in Europe, and Modric was a key cog in the winning machine as they marched to a second successive final. He delivered yet another outstanding personal display in the 2017 showpiece as Zinedine Zidane's side overwhelmed Juventus. Not for the first time, Los Blancos made Champions League history as they became the first team to retain the trophy.
You know, he was similar to Iniesta. I think them two are just like peas in a pod in a sense where they don't rarely vacate the midfield, you know, and they always, their technique and their tactical prowess on the pitch just better than everyone else's.
If we had like, I don't know, a night out for a meal or drinks or whatever, Luka was always kind of like, you know, centre of attention within it all. He'd always have a laugh with us. But he just had that kind of right, it's training time, and every single day in training to him was like 100%. You know, the demands and how much he enjoyed football, and whether it was like a little game of possession or a big 11v11, whatever it was, he was, you know, arguably the best player on the pitch in every session that he played in.
Different generations, but Luka would have been lovely to play with. As a footballer, you could have played with him, you know. 1-2s, he was intelligent. It must have been a joy to be alongside him as a teammate and to play with him.
Arriving in yet another final, it was Liverpool this time who stood in the way of the three-peat, and the Reds lined up with an all-action midfield. But Modric once again marshalled the centre of the park and helped guide Real to victory to claim his 4th Champions League medal.
He always had the answer to every kind of question, whether you put real pressure on him and he was aggressive with him. He was stronger than people thought he was, and he was just so creative and intelligent that you couldn't quite pin him down. But another player that the tougher the opposition got, the more pressurised the situation got, the better he got. And I think that is sometimes what separates, you know, the real great players from the good ones.
He's so gifted, low centre of gravity, so it's difficult to sort of get the ball off him. You know, he moves so quickly with the ball, but an unbelievable player. Always found it difficult every time we played against him, whether that was for Spurs or Madrid.
This was Modric at his peak. He then captained Croatia to the 2018 World Cup final and broke the Ronaldo Messi Ballon D'or duopoly later that year.
He's definitely one of those players that I know is massively appreciated in every dressing room that he's been in. So there's no doubt that, you know, someone like Ronaldo, you know, wouldn't look at that and go, he doesn't deserve it. It was a great year for him.
You think about you know, how successful Real Madrid have been since Luka Modric has been in it, how successful Croatia have been as a nation with him in it, how successful Tottenham were when he played for us as well, and the same when he was back in Croatia playing.
Time will be kind to Luka Modric. I think you look at his career and look at the amount of what he's won, the performances he's made in big games. You know, he's a Ballon d'Or winner. In the Messi Ronaldo era, which is incredible. I
saw him recently against Paris Saint-Germain. At 36, he's still protecting his fullback, getting back, doing his defensive duties as well as keeping the ball, and just a lovely player.
Modric was and still is Real's heartbeat. Indisputably one of the greatest ever midfielders to grace this competition, he continues to take on new levels of responsibility with the Champions League's most decorated club.